Hey guys, Miss Curtis here. Welcome back to Writer's Workshop. And we're going to get started with our second session in our brand new Projects to Notebooks unit. We want to go over really quickly our teaching point, which is writers generate ideas by using old charts, tools, and strategies. What are we trying to achieve? We want to let our notebooks come to life. We want to figure out where to start when we get stuck. And we want to collect ideas that have real power and significance in our lives, keeping in mind that we're going to be following the regular old writing process we're used to. We're starting with collecting entries in these first few sessions. Okay, so I want to take a second really quickly and let you guys know that all of us teachers in the 4th grade are getting super excited about this writing unit work. Why? Because you all submitted work yesterday that got us super excited. So many of you are letting your notebooks come to life. One student submitted a rap, a song about the coronavirus and how it's the worst. Some students were writing favorites and memories. Awesome job. Then we also have a lot of students who decided to stick to poetry, which is something we've dabbled a little in this year. And then last but not least, I had a couple students, and so did the other teachers, who wrote stories. And that's using all of that great work we've done throughout the year and applying it to what's on your mind in the moment. We're super excited. Definitely keep it up. So, really quickly, I want to get to talking about something that happens to all of us. We get stuck when we're free writing. Sometimes when there's no guidance, things get tough, and you get stuck and you're not sure where to go. We're going to talk about really quickly how we can use some of those old strategies, tools, and charts that we've been looking at all year to help us move our thinking and our writing. So, what can you do when you get stuck? First off, we can take a subject that matters to you, list ideas related to that subject, take one of those ideas, and just write about it. So I've got an example here of my work. I decided to start with the subject of family. I listed a bunch of ideas related to family. Long distance family, staying safe, arguments, getting along, living together, family friends, getting through hardships, and memories. And then I decided to use our Boxes and Bullets unit when we did that great Boxes and Bullets boot camp, and I decided to start drafting a personal essay based on one of these topics. So I decided to choose getting along. Why? Because that's important to me and my family. Sometimes it's hard to get along, but it's important that we try our best. So my thesis statements I developed was that it's really difficult getting along with family. My 3 reasons that I chose to support that thinking is you don't get to choose your family, which is true. I don't always have to like my sister, but she is my family. I didn't get to choose her, so we've got to get along. You have to live with family even if you don't want to. As an adult, I live with my mom. I know a couple other teachers that live with grandparents and siblings, and that's not always easy, but sometimes you got to do it and you got to figure out how to get along, regardless. Then last but not least, you don't always agree with each other. Duh! How many of you out there argue with your siblings that you live with? I know I did when I was younger, and I still do as an adult. It's hard getting along with family. That's my personal essay opinion. I've created a thesis and 3 reasons to support that thinking. I could easily use this tool that we use for our personal and persuasive essays to help me draft this essay in the next steps coming in this unit. So, I want you guys to start thinking about where this writing is going to take you. Are you going to be writing a personal or persuasive essay based on these things that matter to you? Keep it in mind. I've got another example for you. Really quickly, what else can we do when we get stuck? We can observe and then write. Then say, the thought I have about this is blank. So you can take basic observations you've made in the street, in your home, reading the newspaper, listening to the radio, and then write about it. What are the thoughts you're having about it? You can also see a problem and then imagine a solution. That's also a great strategy. So here I took the liberty of showing you guys that I made some observations when I went for my walk yesterday. Gloves in the street. One thing I'm noticing more and more is that people are all trying to use masks and gloves to stay safe during this time. People are using gloves more and more during this time. They all seem to be ending up in the street. How many of you guys are seeing gloves all over the sidewalks? The thought I have about this is that even though we are in the middle of a pandemic, we can't forget about global warming. I can't help but wonder where all those gloves will end up after being thrown on the sidewalk. We know that plastic is very harmful to our oceans and our ecosystems. New York City just banned plastic bags in order to limit the amount of plastic we're using. Are these many gloves going to add even more plastic waste to our load? Man, that got me thinking. What if I started a persuasive essay based on this topic? People should not be using plastic gloves. Basic. I heard in the news that the people that needed it most were medical professionals. I'm just a teacher. You're just a student. Do we need plastic gloves so much during this time? What is it doing to our environment? Then I know if I were to start a persuasive essay based on that, I could again go right back to that personal and persuasive essay frame tool that we've been using all year and give that a try. So this is leading me into ideas for a writing project moving forward. Keep that in mind, guys. Here's another strategy. What else can we do when we get stuck? Well, we want to ask, what books do I wish existed in the world? Then think of persons, people, or places who matter to you. List small moments and write them. I took the liberty of trying this strategy for you guys as well. Person I wrote was my grandmother. Moments I listed: visiting her during the holidays, getting to play in and around her house, scary stories, funny relatives, and lots of visiting pets. I remember my grandmother's house on Long Island was surrounded by lots of swamps and trees. The driveway to our house from the road was always really long and bumpy. No matter what the weather was, her driveway was gray and spooky. I was a scaredy cat when I was younger. I will never forget my mother would always tell me about Old Man Mooselock who lived in those very woods. I was desperately afraid to be out in those woods alone. So I made it my business to write a person that mattered a lot, jot down some moments that remind me of that person, and then I started a story. What do we know from our story writing tool? That we've got to set up characters and setting. I did that here. Then I'll have a problem with a rising action. I'll have the turning point, possibly a resolution, and then a theme at the end. We can use all that good story writing work that we did in our narrative unit to help us create a story from these ideas and these things that matter to us. I could write a story about my grandmother for this unit. Last but not least, we want to think to ourselves, what can we do when we get stuck? Here are all the strategies that I went over, and I want to think really quickly. I want you to stop and think. What strategy do you think you'll try next time you get stuck? Pause the video and choose one from this list. So I want to go over really quickly. The teaching point again is that writers generate ideas by using old charts, tools, and strategies. What are we trying to achieve? We want to let our notebooks come to life, figure out where to start when we're stuck, and collect ideas that have real power and significance to us. What you're going to do is you're going to start your second notebook entry by clicking the Word doc that I started for you guys entitled Second Notebook Entry. Brainstorming about anything on our mind through song lyrics, poetry, sketching, stories, people and places that matter to you. Then if we get stuck, you're going to refer to my strategies to generate and write tool that I've attached to this assignment, and you're going to choose one to help you generate and write. Don't forget, guys, we have to push ourselves to write a lot. That's the key to these entries. They're going to lead us into a writing project at the end. To step up the rigor, try writing another entry about something else on your mind. Make sure to write a lot. Remember, guys, we're collecting entries during this time to help lead us into a project about something that really matters to us. Without these entries, we won't know where to start for the project. Good luck, guys. Keep those entries coming.